Hello everybody and welcome back to another vlog. Today I'm sort of wearing what I usually wear. This is new and the shirt underneath is the green one from I think my last video, except the thermal one. Although this is I think going to be more sort of based on my character, at least this version of my character in the stories as well as the actual version myself. So I'm going to start with the story version myself, but they'll sort of coincide every now and then. So sort of like the story version, I've recently gone into this, I've been writing a little bit more. I'm on to chapter 4 of the Dimensional Wars, which I'm writing at the moment. And what I'm doing is I'm going down the list, and at one point I did something because Gordon, and I don't really want to say what happens to Gordon, because I actually published it, but something happens to Gordon, and I needed an age for him, so I went on and I made a list of my age compared to Gordon's. Because me and Gordon are technically always together, I use my own age as a reference point. In the stories, I begin Skyrim when I'm 13 and I'm doing Fallout when I'm 14. And I do that actually because it's much easier to go along with that in twos, because Gordon ages every 2 years, technically. So, he's 20 in the first one, 21 in Fallout. That's why I changed his age to make him look much younger, because he's 21, but he looked a bit more 30. And then I went down through all of his ages and then just compared them, and I found the 2 point where they coincide, the two numbers, which I thought was 25, but no, it's 27 when 27, 28, they both overlap with their ages. And then after that point, Nurse ends up being older. And I was going through the list, and I was just thinking, how long do I want this version of myself to live for? It's not as much as I want loads of stories actually going through it. Compared to Gordon's life, in those, 10 years or something he was going on for, sort of, before the Dimensional Wars, he did Fallout, Skyrim, Fallout, Nuka World, Far Harbor, is actually, Far Harbor, and I think Nuka World, but I'm never going to play that one on camera. And the other one, I call it Robomania, but I know that's not what it's called. It's I don't know, it's the Robot DLC, but yeah, that is the other one that, he goes through. So there's story DLC, so there's all the adventures he goes on in 10 years. Nurse is with him through most of those, but he's not really having his own adventures. That's why I usually don't want to have Nurse in the DHD for that long, because it's more of a, I don't class as an interesting time period compared to the other two. Where he's always travelling, and I do want to point out that he's having less adventures, whilst he's still having the excitement of going around and following these other people. It's not as interesting. He's not there doing it. He's sort of either helping or he's watching someone else do those adventures. So whilst he's there and he has some control if he wants, he's not actually having the adventure. It's someone else. So, is there anything they collect is what they collected. Even if he pointed it out and he controlled them to pick it up, they picked it up. They got it. It's theirs. It's not his. Nothing that ever happens on those adventures anymore are his. Then comes in the Dimensional Wars, he gets this coat and probably a different shirt. I want to have him in a slightly brighter colour at the start, and then as that sort of progresses, going much darker. And through that, you are going to learn about some stuff, like for instance, he has the band, the Red Hand Gang. So anyone who watched the Ultimate Band playlist, that's the Red Hand Gang. That's me, Ben, Bo, Rowan. So the 4 friends I had at the time, well, actually 3 friends I had at the time, the 4 of us made the band. And, yeah, so then in the DHD, we sort of have these other bands. We do these performances. Then, yeah, but when sort of everything's going on, I've already written out sort of the main fight part, the first sort of fights, which is actually where the event is the main battle, sort of, and it's just the 4 of us, so the same Red Hand Gang, and they go into London in a parallel universe. I cannot remember I can't say from memory which parallel universe it was, but yeah. It was a very big number. I can't remember. I think it actually spells a word, but I don't know what word it was anymore. But anyway, and go then, the attack, the escape is actually mostly based on like one of the Battlefield games where you have to you like climb a tower and it collapses, and then they get down to the bottom. And there's some of that in there, and then there's like the car chase out, although it's slightly different. Instead, they're running away from a spaceship. And yeah, so there's sort of this bit where he falls out the door, and he gets like his arm, hits the ground, and it scrapes away some of the like velvet. I think the coat's made, his jacket is made of velvet, so it's not a long coat. It's more like a blazer. So there's a purple velvet blazer. And yeah, and it cuts away. And there, so and these few times, every time he has an attack, so he has that fixed up, because it's not just that he escapes a collapsing building by going into another building, which then collapses by also entering it through the window. And then when they get back to the DHD, the car that they're in hits something when they come through the portal, and it rolls it. So they're inside the car, no seatbelts because they were panicking. They were trying to escape as quickly as they could, and it rolled the car, so they were also being thrown around the car, as well as all the broken glass was flying around. So they've got tons of cuts, and also the clothes are really ripped. But in this story, this is like 30, so I'm trying to figure out what I would be sort of like in my 30s. And yeah, and not only that, then as it goes on, because in this version of myself is technically what I want to class as the longest living version of myself, which lives up until I'm about 113. By that point, though, I actually commit suicide. It's slightly different because I commit suicide because I'm getting bored again. I get really bored because I can't move much anymore, because, once again, I'm 113. So I'm really old. I can't really move, I can't run, I can't fight. Even though I can do that, I'm really easy for anyone to take down. So I commit suicide so that I can actually regenerate and I become someone new, who I don't know. But yeah. And after sort of that, I reached my 50s, and I'm about like 55 or something. No, I'm 56 and then 57 during the Man in the Old Brown Coat, where I wear this outfit. The coat, the jumper. I actually wear I'm not sure if I'm going to go with this one, which is a greeny brownish one, as my mask, or if I'm going to go with a grey one, but it's going to have the logo on it, my logo, so the NJ, as well as I will also wear the thermal shirt, but I never really changed that. I also have these shoes, which I've gone for a walk in them, so they're really muddy, but yeah, these are also the shoes I wear. And there, I should really not be having them on the carpet down there, but yeah, I've got the blue jeans, the black belt, and things like that. I always probably wear that shoulder holster, but less frequently. It was like the conflict with that. I prefer, and I probably will also have to state this, that I prefer, I don't want to say like gun holsters, but the leg ones, the ones that go on your leg. I don't know if they've got a certain name, but yeah, those ones. But the shoulder holster is a little bit better, because technically, I never state if it's in a parallel universe or not, but I state it's in the future, and for instance, even though I'm in America, guns are illegal, and that is partly so that having the gun is a little bit less, like, casual for people to have. So yeah, so then with that, and this is what I have, and for most of the trailers, if I was ever to do like trailers for it or something, it would always be that this mask would be up. You would barely see his face. Like I'll just put it up. It's like that. So I don't really want people to know what he looks like before the film, sort of, because people sort of know what he looks like, but it's been about 10 years, so he would have aged a bit. You just know that he's older, but you don't really know what he looks like anymore. So yeah, like I've even got a cover. Actually, this was a rough sketch of what the cover would look like. I'm not sure if you can even see that. You can't see that, but there's meant to be well, I haven't even drawn it in, but there's meant to be a landscape across the city. A city, I'm not sure which one yet, but yeah. Also the gun is the Defender Model B. No, it's not much Defender Model B, it's the Defender Model C. I don't have a picture of the... Oh, here-ish. Okay, well, the Defender Model A is much bigger. It's about 15 inches. I'm not sure how big that is, but I would say it's going to be about that big or something. It's hard to say on the camera, but yeah, but it's quite a big gun. This one is clearly much smaller. It's Defender Model C. The company went out of business, but the Defender Model C was designed. I simply took those designs and built the gun. So yeah, and then I went over like the skills and things like that. So yeah, so then like my character survivalist sort of mostly improvises. I do improvise quite a lot. I don't usually plan stuff. Like for instance, I was like going this video. How am I going to do this video? Record, figure out as I go along. And you can probably tell with that pretty much everything. I don't usually plan too far ahead. Like I can come up with a plan if I want. If I stick to it, is a different story. Because I'm unlikely to stick to the plan. I just create them. So yeah, and things that I also don't let go to stuff very easily, and then I put that in with the shotgun and things like the shotgun is incredibly old. I at one point wrote down somewhere over there by the window a list of how I tried to figure out how long I spent in each galaxy before I reached Earth. Because I always class that now I'm going north in the universe. Technically north is towards the central dimensions, but anyway. And I was always going in this same sort of direction, going from galaxy to galaxy. I then estimated that because we sort of explore them, we sort of zigzag across the galaxy. So we sort of discover stuff as we go along. So it's not like we discover 100% of what's in there. We just get a rough idea on what's there. And then I went, okay, how long would that take? We went, well, we don't have good ships. That's one thing. We always, like, in the stories and things that we're like scavengers. Actually, we're only pirates when we get to Earth, but you know, scavengers, thieves, traders. We don't have ever a big paid job. We also, yeah, I think I said treasure hunters, but yeah. So we don't have very good jobs. We're not paid much. So the first one you get is actually a ship which is given an alien name, but it's called the Junker, technically, when you translate it. The Junker, one word. So you get an idea on how good those ships are. So we travel around, and I was just thinking, how long would that take? 25 billion years, I think. Then we went across 25 galaxies. 25 times 25 billion, I don't have a calculator to tell you how big that is. But it's a long time. And I've had the shotgun pretty much that entire time. So the gun is old. I've always kept it sort of repaired, but not massively well. So it works, it's just not very good. In this one, you know, the trigger sticks every now and then. It's not a very good thing to be having that sort of shotgun. And lots of people are going to mention in the story, why don't you get a new one? Because it's going on. Eventually I have to get rid of it, and I switch back to the Defender Model A and all of that, but yeah, and then eventually I go to a Desert Eagle, which was actually my first gun that I always used to use. Whenever I had a game, I always had a Desert Eagle, when they were optional, because they were really powerful. Found out, though, that they are also really hard to see anything when the games go in slow motion. Like Call of Duty, I shoot and I just can't see anything for the next few seconds. So yeah, so I am going to have that in later on, but yeah, that's so that. And also, I want to have my characters, you know, antisocial. I'm antisocial in reality, and some of them, because I do this, like at school, I have to do this thing called like social skills or something like that. And I don't want to go. I go there instead of going to like assembly and things like that during tutor. So it's like, okay, fine, I'll go because I don't have to go to there. That's good. It's a really annoying thing that I don't need it. They're talking about, oh yeah, this is, how do these people look, you know, happy, sad, I know this, you know, I literally go and there I stand in the corner. I don't sit down, I stand. There are still chairs. There's a sofa, there's 2 sofas. There's chairs. I don't sit down, I stand. I stand in the corner. I don't socialise there. And there's a reason, because I don't want to. It's not that I can't, it's because I don't want to. So, yeah, and so I put that in there. So, in sort of the stories when I'm meeting Retro, Steven, Retro and Steven, I'm not even sure if they're ever going to get their own story. Retro is the guy from Terraria, Steven is the guy I play as in Minecraft, Gordon is the guy in Skyrim and Fallout. And Gordon is, I'm pretty sure, the only one that you'd ever see that with, where I don't talk to him much, and you don't hear much from me until but as the story sort of proceeds, I start talking to him a little bit more. So at first it's just normal, like at the very start it's giving him information. Point, yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, this does this, that is because I just give him like little bits of information like that. But then as it sort of goes on and starts going, oh look, there's a guy over there, and then I just sort of leave him to it. And then by sort of the end, I talk to him, and I'm sort of how I am. It's the time where sometimes they're going like, oh yeah, oh yeah, didn't that guy say this? I swear I recognise you, and he hears me much more frequently. And I wouldn't, and that's because that's what I do. I listen to other people, and when I sort of figure out what they like and things like that, I'm more likely to start talking to them then. So yeah, and I'm also quite creative. I'm arty. That's not an actual word. I play the guitar, the drums, the keyboard. I actually, fair enough, I've never learnt to play the keyboard. I just figure out how to play it. The guitar and the drum set are the only two things that I actually learned to play anything with, but to be honest, drum set you don't really need to know how to play it too much-ish. I can, but really I don't bother anymore. The guitar I can, but I haven't done it for a while, and yeah. But yeah, and one of the things, my outfits, like what I wear, I'm always wearing a jacket. I'm always someone, and it's this thing, like there's only one character that I've ever come up with who actually breaks this rule, but I'm always there, and I always wear something with a loose jacket. I always wear a second layer, because I always want a jacket, like an open jacket. And I don't know why, it's always been something that I've done. At first I thought it came from sort of like Doctor Who, where I used to always have like a blazer, I used to say, oh yeah, I have a black jacket, and the very first vlog, which I don't even think is on YouTube anymore, had me wear the blazer that I had, but I grew out of it. And after that I just sort of wore my normal clothing. I only wore it for one episode. After that I got this, and this was actually due to Firefly that I got this. And this is because when I went to school at one point on Mufti Day, so where you go and wear your clothes if you don't know what that is, I wore this, I wore the jumper, I didn't have this at the time, this is like new, I got this like yesterday. And the thermal shirt, the shoes that I showed you earlier, the jeans, the black belt, everything. And I was really quite surprised when someone asked if I was dressed up as Doctor Who, and I was there thinking, no, what kind of doctor do you think I was dressed up as? And even when people don't think I can hear them, I can. Like, I pointed out that I bought this coat for £6, and there is a reason why it was £6. Now look, there's an area on the back, just, I'm not sure if you can even see it, but there's some white stitching there, because there was a hole that came in. I don't put anything in the pockets, because it's all sort of broken, and that there, which is going to be sewed up tonight. And I still wear it because I love it. I don't know why, I just absolutely adore the coat. It's something that I wear pretty much all the time, apart from a normal white, like, an actual shirt. Like, I barely wear this with my school uniform because it does not look right. The white shirt and this, they just don't work. So, yeah, and so I can wear this with technically anything that if I go to another Mufti Day, this is what I'm wearing. I go to, special events, just visiting people, this is what I wear. I wear it everywhere. I wear it pretty much every day. And it's something that most people I don't think will ever get. I barely get it. I don't know why I wear it so much. Originally it was Firefly, now I don't know what it is. And once again, yeah, it's like in the Dimensional one, that's the thing, I don't really understand why I wear it. In the next one, there was a reason actually why I wear it in the Man in the Old Brown Coat. Because everyone in the DHD is dead. So technically means anyone I've played as on any game that has ever been put up onto this YouTube channel is dead. Yeah, that's great. Apart from a bit of bacteria, supposedly. I believe he may have survived. I call it Bob. It was a joke. Bob the bacteria. And I think I actually made him a character eventually. But, so there's an idea that maybe he survived, but I don't really know. And to be honest, it's really unlikely he did. But the coat is the thing, because it's so ripped, it's tattered, and I've sewn it together, but I don't really know how to sew that well. So that's why it looks like this. That's why it's got all of those little cuts and they're all sort of loosely sewn together. Because it's every like bullet. There's on the front it's more ripped than on the back because of a grenade. And a grenade explodes not that far away. All the shrapnel and mud and rocks is all thrown over me. I'm killed in the blast. So obviously it wasn't very good. But it, yeah, ripped the front. I sewed it back together. The back, the main cut sort of through the middle. Someone stabbed me with a sword. And yeah, so it's that thing that this is a long-lasting coat, and I'm even thinking maybe about putting onto one of the sleeves like a Firefly badge in the story and in reality, because in the story I was thinking if I could do it, it would be like the brown coat. It's not the sergeant, it's not the private, it's the one in between. If you just look up Firefly ranks, you might be able to find that. And that's the badge I was going to have on the shoulder, and I might even still get it. But yeah, but in the story, it might already be there, like if someone wore it for like a cosplay about 6 years ago, and now it's just, okay. So I pick it up, I put it on, and then when I bring in like Chung and the others from the Firefly group, at this point Chung is actually still mad at me because I left after about 10 years, left them for a few years, but I didn't really say anything when I left, I just left, and it really annoyed her especially, and yeah, so she actually rips it off. So there'll be a small sort of triangular remain where I've tried to sew it back together. Same thing on the other shoulder. Actually, wait, the badge goes on that one, and then okay, the Firefly badge goes there. The DHD badge goes on here. Where there once again is another few stitches from where I pulled off another badge, which is where I got the Limonite for the portal. So the coat is meant to mean something in that point. And in the next ones I don't wear it, like in the one that comes after that is called Mortal Hearts. It's going to be loosely based on, well, I'm hoping it's going to end up being loosely based on The Last of Us, where Lucy, so the detective I join up with in The Man in the Old Brown Coat, is killed in an explosion. The explosion also killed me well, didn't properly kill me, but nearly did. And it burnt quite a lot, basically half the coat away. So I'm not sure which side of the coat is going to be remaining. But yeah, that happens. It burns away half the coat. And I'm going to have a backpack in that one, sort of like in The Last of Us, but you never see what's inside the backpack. And at one point, the other character that would be going with me, it actually says she looked in the bag at one point, and she wants to know what the weird device is and the coat is. I tell her what the coat is. We're interrupted, and I never tell her what was in the device, what the device was for. I am going to say that the device is actually to bring the DHD back, but that doesn't happen till I'm about, I want to say about 90 something or 100, something like that. I can't remember. I start trying to reform it when I'm about, I want to say 70. Well, I'm 62 or something in Mortal Hearts. It ends, and I'm 63. I nearly got confused there. I probably did as well. And then, yeah, so then in the next one, which I don't really know what the name is, but I'm going to sort of figure out what the story is. But in that one, I go through about 19 years of someone's life. So I was probably 80, probably. No, it can't have been 18. So I would have to be 70 when it began. Then from 70, I went all the way from 70 to 98, where I realised that was a good time to stop because I was about to hit 100. And yeah, and that's sort of when I start trying to put the DHD back together. She's the first one who sort of comes up as another female person, but that's because I sort of feel like there needs to be a mix in some ways. And then the 100, and then my death. So yeah, there's quite a long story there, and I still feel like compared to Gordon had a lot more adventures compacted into a shorter time span than Nurse did. As I said, he had more sort of interest. You know, like, there's still a few things. So there's this one, which is going to be, it's called Pirates, Treasure, and Zombies. And I know it's in the Legends of Zelda book. I did know that. But what it is, it's meant to be a pirate adventure story, and yeah, sort of based off Monkey Island and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So it's sort of got like the puzzle solving. The characters look quite similar, ish. And yeah, actually, now that I think about it, they do actually look slightly similar. But yeah, so I do sort of find it. I did find it annoying that people just say, because I said I bought this at a charity shop. That's why it was so cheap. But I've actually checked. I checked to see if there were other versions of this which were bigger. Like I could just buy a new one. No, they don't make them anymore. That they literally, the company have stopped making this type of coat. I checked. It's old enough that it's gone out of fashion technically. I know that matches my personality perfect because I'm also old-fashioned. I'm barely up to date with anything but films and games. I'm rarely into modern music. I'm not very into quite a lot of modern stuff. Like I enjoy sort of like not vintage cars, but you know, my car is meant to be an MGB, and when I grow up, that is the car I'm going to have, an MGB, and maybe even a DeLorean. So I just focus on sort of more old-fashioned things and newer things. Like if there were laser guns, I wouldn't have a laser gun. I would have a bullet gun because technically, in my mind, they work slightly better. Bullet guns be faster. They also leave something inside you, depending on how close range they were. Lasers, they'll hit you, they'll burn you, and also you could see them coming from a slightly long distance. There's actually a bit of time to react to a laser. So yeah, so I'm more old-fashioned. I improvise a lot, you know. So I am trying to put that into this character. Once again, also the thing, like I'm quite good at picking up on what people are saying. Across my biology room, someone asked me where I got the coat, and I said a charity shop. I don't know which one. Somewhere in I was about to say where it was. Somewhere in like the town that was nearby. And I could hear them from the other side of the room over everyone's talking. And like, I'm not gonna go there. There's one, you don't know where, and two, really? So obviously I wore the coat, I wore this, it was boiling hot. Well, it was to everyone else. I was actually fine. I'm really surprised by that. But yeah, so I want to put some of the stuff in there. But you know, I'm also doing a lot. I listen to music now quite a lot as well. Like when I'm writing or doing anything, I'm usually listening to music without lyrics, and sometimes with lyrics, so I just ignore them. Recently I was doing some. As I said, when I was writing that story, I was listening to the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, Volume 1 and 2. I was just listening to them. You know, I wasn't really taking much of the lyrics, but yeah, I was just there. I was just listening to the music. I was there scrolling through, writing. It was like that. I'm also now, I've got my watch later playlist. It's more being filled up with music. Like the very bottom of it is like Ventura and Tell trailers. Few bits of Ventura Hotel music, the film theory intro, the game theory intro, the sort of rock version of it, and then a few other things. And it's like, you know, that's what I'm listening to. You know, I'm probably gonna put some Johnny Cash songs in there as well. So yeah, so I'm also gonna put in stuff like that. You know, the listening to music and the things that when I'm writing. Is technically what I'm going to be writing with is a black journal when it's doing that, but yeah. So that's sort of giving you an insight to what my character is like and what I'm like, but it's only one version of myself. Because if I was to do the entire timeline, this video would be like an hour long. Because seriously, as I said, 25 galaxies means, well, actually there aren't 25 characters. They just have a lot of stuff in there. So yeah. There probably is going to end up there being more than 25 characters. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and see you later. Bye.